Hello and welcome back to another video on Asia Now. In this video, I'll give you all the top stories from around the Philippines. I'll tell you about a Canadian man arrested for serious trafficking charges, a foreigner found unresponsive in the ocean, another foreigner being arrested for using a fake passport, a man in the food court of a mall was arrested for pleasuring himself in front of some young women, the International Criminal Court wants to arrest Netanyahu, dengue fever cases on the rise in the Philippines, babies found in dumpsters and babies up for sale in the Philippines, and will the Philippines finally legalize divorce? Before we get started, this video took me a long time to put together and it took me all week to collect all the stories, so take a quick second, it's free, just hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Here's our top story. The Bureau of Immigration said that arrested fugitive Thomas Gordon O'Quinn needs to face possible local charges against him before he can be deported. O'Quinn, who uses the alias James Martin, 38 years old, was arrested last May in Barangay Tagaytay. He is considered a big-time drug lord and is wanted by the Interpol for cases filed against him in the U.S. It was learned that O'Quinn is also subject for an Interpol red notice after the U.S. District Court in Western Washington released a warrant for his arrest. He was reportedly charged before he said court with conspiracy to distribute and possess the intel to distribute the illegal substance called methamphetamines, so shabu basically, and 5 kilos or more of a mixture of substance containing a detectable amount of coke. An additional charge of a conspiracy to export from the U.S. of 5 kilos of coke was filed against him in the same court. O'Quinn allegedly committed the offenses from August 2014 and June 2015, during which time he and his cohorts facilitated the export and import of illegal substances from Canada to the U.S. and vice versa. If found guilty, O'Quinn could be sentenced to a maximum of life imprisonment under the U.S. Penal Code. In the Philippines, O'Quinn faces charges of violation of Section 11, which is basically using a fake name. The Canadian man has been tagged by the local authorities as a major suspect for his alleged involvement in the case of 1.4 tons of illegal drugs seized by authorities inside a vehicle in Batangas last month. It was reported that the police seized several sachets of shabu from Quinn when they arrested him. I quote, "He has to stand trial to face his crimes locally before we can deport him so he can again stand trial for the crimes he committed abroad." All right, so not a good day for this guy. He actually looks kind of familiar when I look at his picture, but multiple countries involved. It's one thing to partake in maybe experimenting with some drugs or whatever. It's a whole different thing to make it, to sell it, to export it, especially across international borders. So he's going to be in a lot of trouble, and not only in the Philippines, but also in the U.S. and possibly back in Canada. He faces life in prison in the U.S., which is a serious time to do. Let's go on to our next story. Next up, we have 3 female students reporting to the police. They caught a man basically looking at them and pleasuring himself at a food court in a mall. 3 college students from Cebu City caught a man masturbating in a food court after staring at them for a long time. The women said that they saw this guy looking at them for a while but tried to ignore him. Eventually, they could not ignore him anymore and started recording him while he started pleasuring himself. The police are still looking for him. Apparently, this is not the first time he's done this. Next up is a foreigner found in the ocean unresponsive. A foreigner national was found unresponsive in the sea in Tangnan, Panglao, Bohol around 7:30 a.m. on Friday, May 24th. The body was yet to be identified, but authorities said the victim might have drowned while driving off Panglao. Investigation is still ongoing. May he rest in peace. Next up is a foreigner using a fake passport. Here's the full details. The Bureau of Immigration arrested a Chinese man with a fake Mauritius passport and ID. In the Philippines, the BI officers intercepted a passenger traveling from Bangkok at the Naya International Airport on May 17th. According to the BI Immigration Protection and Border Enforcement, the 32-year-old Wang Wei-yang arrived in the country on board a Philippines airline flight and attempted to clear the immigration counter with his counterfeit Mauritius passport and identification card. BI records show that Wang previously traveled in the Philippines by presenting a Chinese passport. The Chinese man revealed during the interrogation that he acquired the fraudulent documents after allegedly investing $200,000 US, but admits he has never traveled to Mauritius for the processing. He instead received the passport and identity card while he was in Thailand. A verification done by the BI's Forensic Documents Laboratory revealed that the documents presented were indeed counterfeit. The BI commissioner said, I quote, This process is a reminder of the ongoing challenges we face in combating illegal immigration. Our immigration officers remain vigilant to ensure the safety and security of our borders. Well, why Mauritius though? I'm guessing it was easy to obtain legally, as what I mean by that is like just pay the money and get a real passport, although he's not actually from Mauritius. Our next couple stories are a bit disturbing, involving infants, so if you're sensitive to that, please skip this one. An unresponsive was found inside a black shoebox that was dumped near a garbage area in Barangay Subangdaku, Mandaue City, Cebu on Wednesday. The body was turned over to authorities for proper disposition. Staying on the topic, the DSWD announced the arrest of a broker and a mother who sold her 8-day-old baby for 90,000 pesos. Authorities said that over the past year, they have found 20 to 40 Facebook pages where transactions of the illegal sale and adoption of babies, even of those who are yet to be born, take place. Wow, that is incredible. I'm not a father or a mother. I can't really comment on these, but to have that kind of thing go on, and I mean, I'm not here to judge people, but I'm just glad that the people that broke the law are being caught and being dealt with accordingly. Kind of staying on the topic, the House of Representatives in the Philippines has passed the third and final reading of the absolute divorce law in the Philippines. I'm going to do a full dedicated video because it's too much to cover in this video and hopefully the next video. So stay tuned because divorce might be a possibility for those of you that are kind of weary about getting married in the Philippines. Next up is a story of dengue fever. Dengue cases rising in Baguio City. Baguio City Health Service Office raised the alarm over the spike of dengue cases in the city, citing a high number of persons acquiring the mosquito-borne disease in the first quarter until May of this year. I don't really know what dengue is. I know it's not good, especially if you catch it more than once. So if you're living around that area, put on some bug spray. Next up is Cebu City Mayor Michael Rama, who's appealed to have a suspension of 6 months removed, him and 6 others, but the appeal was dismissed because they didn't even fill out the forms properly, apparently. Next up is a karaoke update for those of you that love to sing. The use of karaoke sound system not allowed in Cordova before 9 a.m. and after 10 p.m. This is also in Cebu. So penalties for violators are: first offense, a strong verbal warning by responding authorities. Second offense, a fine of 1,000 pesos or imprisonment of not more than 1 month or both upon the discretion of the court. And the third offense is a fine of 2,000 pesos or imprisonment of no more than 2 months or both upon the discretion of the court. Maybe some people are happy to hear this and others aren't, because I know voice, singing, volume can be a problem for some people in the Philippines. I personally only experienced it one time when there was like a huge festival going on, but because I live within IT Park, it doesn't usually happen. But I'm sure if you live on the outskirts of town, sometimes the music can be a problem, especially if you're a light sleeper, because Filipinos love to sing, they love family gatherings, and the karaoke machines, from what I hear, can be really loud. Oh, one more point. Just because there's a law now doesn't mean that people abide by it. There's no point in laws if the authorities are not willing to enforce it, or they just simply are part of the problem themselves. Maybe the police like to sing too. Our next story is coming from Thailand. 2 British tourists were badly beaten by some security guards at a bar. So here's the story. Apparently, 3 people were at this bar, and when it came to paying the bills, 2 out of the 3 paid their tab, but the third one refused to pay, and he said that he already paid. After some discussion, a second man paid for the third man's bill, but even after paying, that third guy was being belligerent, he was drunk, and he pushed another wait staff, someone that was working, in the chest. It was a woman, apparently almost breaking her nose, and that's when shit hit the fan. They dragged these 2 guys outside. I'm going to show you guys some footage here. I'm going to blur it out because YouTube won't allow me to show it, but it's very violent. They got their ass kicked and handed to them by several security guards, bouncers. Although this is in Thailand, this kind of thing can happen in the Philippines too. And we know recently what happened with Range 99, that Cebu rapper who ended the life of Michael, an American UFC fighter, who after a bar altercation. I'm going to get into that in a second, as well as some more details on that so you guys can know what happened there. But the point is, this is not right. It's abusive. It's too much maybe. And it's like so many people ganging up on one person or 2 people. So many thoughts went through my head when I first saw it. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, okay, maybe you should have paid your bill. Then I came to look at the video. I'm like, well, that's a little too much, too extreme. You can end someone's life like that. There was some reports that the person is now passed away, but that's not confirmed yet. It's just too much, I think. But you, as a tourist, as a foreigner, as someone that's going to another country, you really got to watch how you behave, how much alcohol you have to drink, and where you're frequenting regularly. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. You can't really control what other people do, but you can control how you behave and how you represent yourself. So when you're going out there, when you're having a good time, listen, I'm not perfect. I got problems too, but it's good to share these stories so it's on the forefront of our mind. Next time we're somewhere, you really want to get into an altercation with people from that country. You don't know how they behave. You don't know what they're going through, how much they're getting paid, what they're upset about. Maybe they've been training Muay Thai all their life and they've been waiting for somebody to like cross them. Who knows? I'm not going to sit here and tell you who's right or who's wrong, but that's what happened there. And going on to Rage 99, that rapper, apparently in Cebu, he now released a music video from inside prison. Here's a little bit of footage of that. I don't know how I feel about that. I know this happens in the US as well, where rappers are behind bars and they still somehow put out music videos and songs. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know what's going on with that case, whether there's a final verdict on him using a weapon to end the American's life there. So staying on some travel news, you guys must have heard by now what happened with that extreme turbulence in the Singapore Airlines. Singapore Airlines was going from London to, I believe, Australia, and had to make an emergency landing in Bangkok. I may be wrong about the places, but I know that they had to make an emergency landing in Bangkok because of extreme turbulence. And one person actually passed away, and over 40 injured and hospitalized. Last I heard, as of today, they're still in the hospital. So apparently this is going to be a more regular thing happening. They say based off like climate change and all that. And even another one happened recently, just yesterday. In Qatar Airways, 12 people were injured when Qatar Airways plane flying from Doha to Dublin on Sunday hit turbulence. Airport authorities said 8 of them injured were hospitalized. So luckily, no passing in that incident. Staying on travel news, the reports have said that tourist numbers have reached 97% of what they were pre-pandemic. So everybody's still flying. All this stuff is scary as heck. Now I see why they say to put on your seatbelt. It's not really about you crashing into something. That's not going to save you in that case. But it's, of course, for turbulence, a heavy shake in the air when you're flying. It can be... why does every time I'm about to fly somewhere, I get stories like this? So that's going on over there. Let's finish up with some more stories and we'll wrap it up. The ICC prosecutor seeks Gaza war crimes arrest warrant for Netanyahu and Hamas leaders. The International Criminal Court prosecutors Karim Khan says he is seeking warrants against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant, and senior Hamas leaders on suspicion of war crimes and crimes against humanity. Among the charges laid against the Israeli leadership are the starvation of civilians as a method of warfare. Khan accuses Hamas extremists. Khan also accuses Hamas of extermination and sexual violence during captivity, among a host of other charges. Here are the direct footage of the leader of the ICC.
I have reasonable grounds to believe, on the basis of evidence collected and examined by my office, that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant bear criminal responsibility for the following international crimes committed on the territory of the State of Palestine from at least the 8th of October 2023.
And that's it for this one. If you enjoyed it, take a quick second, just hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. Hit that thumbs up button so YouTube knows you enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to bring you guys more stories, news, everything that may affect you as a foreigner, as a tourist that's living in the Philippines, something in English so you guys can quickly go ahead and be updated about the news. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.